Hi, welcome back to the Jansen Art Studio. I'm David Jansen, and welcome to a DVD where we're going to do a study of a couple of painters that I really enjoy working with. First, the Richard William Trouse Richards, who I did a study with doing seascapes, which I love his seascapes and his landscapes. Just an amazing painter. And of course, Thomas Moran, who I've been looking at lately, just trying to break up some of my the way in which I paint clouds and getting textures and everything onto the surface. So I'm going to try a summer afternoon storm here on a beach, and we're going to combine some of the concepts of Moran and Troust, and then put a little bit of myself in there, put in a boat or so on here as well. This is a 16 by 20 canvas. This is a linen one that I make. I take a piece of Baltic birch and then I take linen fabric and I put it and adhere it down with sealer and some light primer. And it's a beautiful painting surface, absolutely beautiful painting surface. I started to do these because a lot of the canvas boards that I have used for years and years seem to be getting, cheaper and cheaper. They don't hold up, and the paint beads on it because they add so much plastic into their gessos now and everything, and they just don't seem high enough quality for where I am as an artist and where I want to go as an artist. So I started making my own. Now, if you want to make your own, I have DVDs on our YouTube channel, and if you go to Global Art Supply, you'll see some short DVDs in some short ways that I explain how I go about making those. But basically, I just take sealer and a primer and a sealer, or sealer and white paint, and I just put that down onto the wood, and while that is wet, I adhere the fabric to it and soak the fabric with the sealer also. Then it dries and adheres, and I cut it with a razor blade, and then I just sand it down lightly with 180 grit sandpaper, and it's a beautiful surface. It's a very absorptive surface, so it'll absorb the paint into it a little bit, and that's what I like, and then it'll give, especially with these acrylics, a real long working time to these. So it's a fantastic surface. So what I've done is then I've taken my pencil here and I've just kind of sketched on where I'm going to have a horizon line, maybe some back hills. We're going to have a big puffy cloud up here with some blue sky, some bright blue sky, and then right into a storm kind of clouds right along the horizon here. A nice boat and beach scene right in here, which will lean a lot on William Trouse Richards for putting into that. But those clouds and those skies, I love Thomas Moran stuff, and so we'll look at that too as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go in and kind of block in areas, get down some paint into these areas, something to work into. I'm not going to be refining anything. I'm just going to get some colors and some movement on to the sky. So basically, I'm going to start out with a lighter sky. Now I'm going to use here the Painted Simply colors. These are the colors of the Painted Simply that I do beginning landscapes and everything with. This is my black and my white, of course, a phthalo blue, a red violet, which is cool, a Naphthol Red Light, which is warm, a yellow, and some white. And I'll be using quite a bit of white. Might have to take a break and go get some more after that. That little container for this big canvas might not be enough. But those are the 6 colors that I use. I like to use those. You can add other colors in there. But this is kind of a simple scene where we're going to go through blues and whites and yellows. And so a limited palette is quite called for on this. You could add a cerulean blue. Trouse Richards and stuff love some of those cerulean, so you could add that if you want. But, the phthalo makes really nice cerulean sides. If I was going to go more ultramarine, you might consider that. But I'm going to keep the skies towards this cerulean and blues and down into the Prussian blues, the dark sides is my plan. So that's one reason why I have the phthalo out. Okay, so I'm going to start out with, I'm going to put down some blues here. I'm just going to take over here onto my palette here. We'll take some of this phthalo blue down, and we're going to take a big old dollop. I might as well just reach over with kind of a clean brush here, and let's just pick up a big old dollop of some white here and set this down and drop this right into this blue right in here, and right into this area where we're going to have this big cloud that's going to come in. I'm just going to take this paint and just work this color in, and I'll work it in with a little bit of extender as well in here. So this will stay wet for quite a long time here, probably during the whole paint here, easily actually during the whole paint. So real nice blue here that we'll be working a lot of things into here, but I want to get this blue. We're going to put, this will make a nice base for it. Generally, into a sky, it gets real blue up and along the top up here, and then it becomes more atmospheric and grays and lighter as it comes down the sky here. So we'll, as we come down here, we'll start to add some more. We're going to add grays and all those other colors in here, but we might as well kind of lighten this up just a bit and have just a little bit of blue showing down in here as we come down this way here. But we'll have this big cloud right up in there. Scrub this in. You can hear me work that and scrub that. Grabbing some extender right there, working these colors right into here like this. And I'll just come right down into my mountain, my little hills there, my little sandy dunes I'm going to put in there. Into those just a bit, and those will eventually become more gray in my vision of it. And all the stuff that I see with Thomas Moran is he always puts in a lot of those real grays, and I love how he puts these grays right up against white clouds and blue, bright blue areas like storm clouds approaching and stuff. So he gets a lot of power to his skies. So I want to keep this a little more blue up here at the top, which will probably put some gray right up into that area as well. Then we'll let it come down here. So with this, the first step here is just take a few moments and just get a good layer of paint on. Let's push the canvas back and get a good layer of paint on. This is a scene, this type of painting here with this scene. We don't need any reflected colors or preserve really any white areas into the painting like we do with some florals to make some colors brighter. This is going to be just a nice, summer day picture with little storm clouds approaching kind of thing. And our palette, our actual colors and stuff that we're using is pretty limited, so we don't need to preserve any of the whites. I'm just going to make here, I'm just making a little bit more of a brighter blue that I can just come right up in here, and we'll just put some of that right in here all the way along that top side of the painting here, which will end up taking some of this out, but as we add the interest and stuff. But this just gets that blue in there, and then that nice blue. That's just a real pretty blue there. And then what we'll do is we'll come down here, gray it up a little bit, but and lighten it up. But I'm going to start it mostly blue. So let's just keep working this down right in here and scrubbing here. Scrubbing this in. Here, we'll work a little bit up into here. I'm just going to preserve a little bit for that cloud shape there. So if you have on your pattern, if you have that on, you can do this. Just lightly preserve that cloud shape there, like that. Okay, so you will know where that cloud's going to be. It'll all get covered up, but we'll know where it is. And right along the horizon line here. And right along that horizon line is going to go a little bit more gray, so we might touch into a little bit of black here, take it right down here, gray this up a bit, grab some extender with that, we'll make a gray, and then we'll really know right where that horizon line is, right in there is those gray clouds will come right in there, which we'll do more in just a minute. Boy, that'll be pretty. Right in there, and we'll get some softer grays. Right along that cloud and beach and dune here, right down into those here. And see, these soft grays play up against these bright blues that are right up into here, and that's what we want to do. That's what he does, is he plays these a little bit of bright blue up against some of these beautiful grays, and he gets so much power and interest to his sky. And then you have, so he's a beautiful sky painter. And then you sit there and you have, William Trouse Richards, who's a beautiful water painter. You put those two together, we'll see what happens, So this ought to be a lot of fun. We'll come in here, and I'm just going to pick up a big old dollop of the white here, and we're just going to push this right into this cloud. It's going to come right up here. Let's just push this cloud shape right in here. Work that right into the edge of the blues. We'll soften these edges for now, but we'll take them out in just a minute. But we're just kind of soft. We're just putting in the areas of it. So a little soft expression of that comes in. A little bit of the white expression here. little bits of that can poke up and through here, working that. This is the 3/4 inch fusion flat, and it's just wonderful for working some of these colors right now. We can take some soft grays and whites here, and let's just add a little streaking into the movement into this top corner here, which will be some sky and cloud movement here. We'll just kind of lightly streak that through, right up in there like that. So we'll get a little movement here. But this white, generally this white will go right up here, powerful, right up here like this by that top, and we'll leave that top edge here like that. Just first look at this and soften those just a bit. First look at this and maybe get a little bit of gray into that, and we'll drop down and we'll put some gray movement here. We're going to paint lights and darks and grays, and I just want to shoot in just an idea of the clouds and how this scene's going to work. Then we'll go down and work on our beach, put some colors into that. So we'll get a nice softer gray kind of color that will swing right down in through here. A little of that blue comes through, which we want here, and we'll put a little bit of that gray right up into here. And see, we'll isolate this blue area like right in here. That'll be right through the center of our painting, right through where we want to get the greatest degree of contrast right in there. So that'll be a good place for it right in there. And we'll get a little more white here. Push that in, just a little bit more white. Just kind of push these in here. Now sometimes I do these with the knife. Sometimes I'll do these with my softer bristle brush. I'll do all kinds of different variations of it. And right now what I'm doing is just looking at grabbing some color, movement, and idea. I'm not worried about building the clouds yet. We're going to do that. We'll come in and work specifically and build and layer and layer and layer. This will give us just an initial look or an idea for that. Now we'll come down and let's just take a real soft sandy color, which is a kind of a toned yellow. So we'll grab some yellow, okay? Let's grab some yellow here. Let's come down and let's kind of tone that yellow down. Any of your blues, blacks, and tiny bit of red here will help tone that yellows down here to this kind of brownish color. I want a yellow-brown color. And we'll add some sky to that just to soften that out. And we'll get quite a bit more sky here into this color. And we'll gray it down, a little of those reds and stuff. And there's a good color right in there as that starts to come right in that area there. And so we'll just come in and just quickly suggest back here these warm little sandy hills here of this, where we're going to go, and we'll add some other little lights and movement to them. So I pick up a little more light and just model this. This is just a real quick statement of this here. This quick statement of some movement back here, okay? This will be the sandy hills. We'll come back down and, we'll move some of this sandy color here, quite a bit of it here. Let's get some lights into this, and let's move some of this right up into the front right up here like this. We'll let it have a little more coloring to it, going a little bit more maybe towards the brown side and up here towards the front, because we know color will become more dark, or you see it better, less atmospheric up here towards the front. So we'll model some of these other colors in here, right up into this area up in here, and we'll push some of that sandy color right into that. Let those just kind of mingle and work around. I have some real soft people there that I'm going to be painting in. So I'll just kind of lightly go over that just so I can still see them there a little bit. As that sketch, if not, I'll have to sketch it back in. And you can put it in and put your pattern on too. So you can work in one or two areas at a time, dry it, put your pattern in. But I want to get some of this, a little bit more of this darker color working up in here. And again, this is just, we're really at the early stages of the painting. We're just moving some colors through, because we're going to And this will just help us play against the sky. This is, all of this is going to change. This is just early parts of the painting here, where I'm just going to get some coloring in. Get rid of the white canvas here. Get some coloring into some of this and work it. Sometimes I just love to use that knife too, that palette knife, in doing that. So we'll get some of that here. We'll lighten it up and get it right along the water's edge here. Here like this, and we'll take some of this light just right out into the water and right out in there where that beach is going to go here. Like those colors cross. That nice coloring in. We're going to have a white and blue ship, a little boat in there, which might just take a little bit of that nice cerulean type color here. And we might just drop in the center part of that little boat there, the little edge of it, the round little edge of that. So we'll see. I'm going to take a smaller little flat, any kind of flat here, and just drop in the edge here. And just a little bit of color, light color right there of what will come into that little boat. A little darker color here at the bottom. Just kind of modeling that all up. Nothing perfect yet, just kind of saying here it is right there. Okay, and maybe just a quick darker statement right there for that back side of the boat here, blue, black. Just a real quick little statement there, and that'll get you some of that contrast there. We'll work those colors in. We'll paint all that a little bit later, but that just kind of sets them in there, which is what we want to kind of do. We'll set like a little shadow in here, just so we know where that shadowing is going to go, right up in here. Some nice, and some of that just makes lovely beach sand shadow here. And again, just getting some interest in some movement so I can continue on with the sky here in just a minute. Good, so that works that. Let's go back into our blues again. Our blues, our blue blacks here. And let's grab a little extender with that. And let's just drop those right in here into our water line. Right along our horizon line. We'll make this horizon line more atmospheric here towards the end here. Painting, but we'll just drop some color in here. And let me just set that right up there on top of that so you can see that edge pretty clearly. Here, right where I'm doing that. And I'm not going to put any of the rolling motion of the ocean in yet. This is just real quick. Drop it in. Let's take some of this in and out of the sand here. Let's just take some of it in and out like this so we don't have a real harsh water's edge there yet at all. And we'll just work some of this color down. See, so this surf line is going to come at you like this here. And that'll work pretty nice. So I got a little bit. So it's almost like a real thin kind of watercolor kind of look to it. It's got a, it's a nice, we got rid of some of that white. So we've got a good kind of perspective now to the painting, where we're going to go. Now we're going to start in and start to take our time and start to develop and build this. Now that we have some things to look at. I'm going to go through, I'm going to work the sky, work some of those clouds, go down, work those receding hills, some of the interest into the sand and into that water, and then I'll go back and we'll probably revisit that sky, and you can revisit that sky several times and build and build and build and build until we build the interest in our painting. So as opposed to where I do some things with alla prima that you've seen in other landscapes and seascapes where I start in that back with that sky and then I move forward. As a matter of fact, I painted another DVD, which we haven't released yet, but where I just did that. This one I'm going to work the whole thing at the same time. Okay, so it's a little bit different, and both techniques work very well. This just kind of gets that color in there, and now I can come in and start some real nice detailing and stuff like that. So let's go. So I'm going to come right back up into this area here. I'm going to take my bigger brush here, some phthalo blue and some white, and we'll come bring this right over here again, right up underneath that, right there. Some phthalo blue and some white, and I'll make just a real nice blue color. Then I'm just going to come right in here like this and just really make sure that that blue right in that area is accentuated. That's the area that he would really paint those clouds, get those clouds right up here, that you would really see the edges of those clouds. And so they'll play really nice against that blue, and that blue can get just a bit darker up there by the top. So let's just add first the blue, and then right up here towards the top it can get just a bit darker, where it's going to play that nice summer day blue right back there, and that will help that that coloring right up there really quite nice. So we'll streak some of that through, and then what we'll do is we'll come back over here and just soften that cloud up through there. Some of that movement, we're going to streak some of that blue right down through here. So when you're painting streaking clouds, you can paint them with the lights, or you can paint them with the darks, or do it kind of like, I like to do with both of them. We'll just show that edge there, with both the light and with both the cloud and the blue. So a lot of times, some of these painters, they would put on the cloud, and we think of building the cloud with the white, but they will also reverse paint back negative paint, just like I would do with a flower. Negative paint in and push and lift the cloud off of the background. So, like you might come in right into here and negative paint into here. I might come in and say, okay, I'm going to push this cloud this way, and I'll negative paint with the blue just like that, and that has just as much power as doing it the other way, and which works quite nice. Now, one of my favorite ways to paint clouds is to use my bristle. This is a number 4 bristle, and I'm going to take it right down into here. Now, I want to keep this right into my grays here, so I'm going to make an area here of grays. Here, we'll just move this over just a bit here. It's kind of hard when you show this big board and this, and also getting this palette underneath here. But I'm going to make some areas of grays here, okay? Then I'm going to push in shadows and back parts of clouds and stuff like that in here like this, and just kind of work these grays in, just these edges like that, okay? And we're going to really kind of put a really nice building clouds. We'll have a darker cloud that's going to come right into here, and I want more of a blue-gray with that as well. So we'll get a little black and blue into that as well right down in here, okay? And let's just get that, see how cold that is? Nice summery storm coming. And I'm just taking my brush and just really flat holding this against here like this. And it just works in there so very well. Sometimes I'll use my knife. Sometimes I'll just use my hand here right now and push those colors in like that. That works really nice to kind of put in some softness of this area where we're going to be building here. And we're going to keep it kind of soft, but we'll build more contrast back up in here a little bit later. So we're going to imagine big, like stormy clouds that are coming in through here. But we're going to want to see every once in a while, this is what's nice about Moran and stuff too, is he'll come in and he'll say, okay, here's some bright blue that's going to come through right there. So we'll see a little bit of our blue right along our horizon line before we go down to some real dark blue grays here. Down along our horizon line, maybe the clouds that'll come right down in through there. So we're going to just kind of set up here these, and we'll get a little bit of that light color and work that through here into those colors there. That's kind of pretty. We'll set up some darker movement here and constantly visit the palette. Constantly go back to the palette, change, roll your brush a little bit, roll it like this, roll it as you're moving it around. That'll cause those clouds to be a little different in there. Okay, and we'll set those up. We'll build and build and build. We'll build some more nice grays here. Darker grays that he really loves, these darker blue grays. Let's get a little more blue into that. These blue grays right up into here. And I know you're just like now going, ah, but yeah, he's gonna run. And I painted that one that approaching or storm approaches, following Thomas Moran and getting those, and you put all this, lovely sky, and then you just come in here on the side and you put like this storm cloud that's just blue and black and dark and menacing up here into the corners, and it plays so well in the sky, and that's what he does. He plays these things so well in the sky here. Let's get this blue black here moving through. Get rid of some of those holidays, little light spots in there. We only want light spots where we determine the cloud needs to be. That's the only place we want these light spots. I'm going to let this kind of fade out as I go over here towards this. This is going to be a cloud heading over there to that dark. This will be the base that we'll put some other clouds in. So real dark blue and black here, right into your brush here, and a little more blue. And we come down here, we'll get it a little bit lighter here. Use your finger sometimes too. This works really nice for just modeling this color through, dragging it around, softening it and dragging it, in and through like that. Just nice movement through. And you get it all over your hand, so you got to be a little careful. But that just works lovely for doing that. Into this linen, especially. This linen is so soft and nice. See the beautiful movement you can get up there into some of those movement or whispers of clouds and stuff through there, which just look awesome, just wonderful here. And so we'll work some of that, and we'll work, I'll change my brush up here again and work with my little flat brush, my 3/4 inch here, work some colors along there. So I try to get a variation of everything that I do. You don't want to just spend the whole thing building clouds with that, with that bristle. Put the bristle on, soften it with your hand, go back and let's grab some of this lovely with the, blues and stuff with our 3/4 inch, and let's put a little bit in there and use your hand. Look for the darks becoming light in through here and grabbing some of that movement. That's what we want to get, We want to come in here, pick up some of our whites here, maybe a touch of our warmer yellows right in here too. And let's, that beachy color, and let's put some of that into our whites, and we'll imagine like a couple of layers of clouds here. So, and what Moran does is you'll have like this dark menacing cloud that's forming right in front of a bank of white clouds that are further off into the distance. And it's beautiful that he does, how he does that. And so we'll do that just by putting in some of these light clouds here. Just some areas of these light clouds, pushing that through, and then we'll put that dark cloud right back up in front of that here. Let's just push that around, some of that color around in there. Look at that beautiful coloring in that. It's wonderful. And we'll try not to mix the colors on your palette too much, because you can get that, if you work on that palette too much, just like if you work in that sky too much, it can become too much the same here. So we want to kind of avoid that as much as possible. The same, using the same. We want to keep the colors modeled on the brush at all times. So we'll have some of these light clouds through here, and kind of light moving clouds here too. So we might strike a little bit of a color like this cloud is moving this way or something like that here, and grab some of that movement of that cloud. And really understands the clouds and their movement here. This boom, boom, boom. Here, like boom, boom. This kind of movement through there like that to get that lovely cloud shape and that beautiful blue kind of showing in and out there. That works really nice. Big wispy type clouds up here, just wispy. You know, that will show up. That he'll just add some wispy clouds back through here, pulling through, grabbing some of that white, big soft brush, just pulling it through here, getting that wispy and a little draggy every once in a while, little stratus type clouds before you get down to some of those big cumulus clouds down here, storm clouds. Very much like this, and it's, you know, the other day here in Pennsylvania was storming, and I went out and took some beautiful pictures, and it was just like that, big dark storm clouds right in front of light ones, and I went out and took some pictures of it, and I was like, wow, that's just like Thomas Moran's paintings. What he does with clouds is amazing. So, you know, he does this a lot, and I have several of his beach scenes and scenes that he has that I'm kind of referencing to right over there. That he does this. He does these types of clouds. So when I'm looking at them, you know, if here just off camera I have some Troust Richards and I have some Moran and stuff, and I look to those and reference and grab some ideas and, you know, those clouds and stuff. I don't try to copy because that becomes difficult. So when you come in to paint yours, don't try to copy. We're going to try to understand the light and dark and the wispiness of the clouds, and then you're going to find your way through it and find your way of doing it. Okay, so here I'm just kind of putting some clouds right up in here, up into this corner, like right in here, and then just, you know, getting some soft top movement there. And this soft movement will play against this powerful cloud right over here. He does that a lot. He'll play the clouds against each other like that. So, and let's get a little bit of gray color into that as well right in here. And we'll just move some of that gray back and forth here. Okay, so we'll have this softer movement right in here. We'll let this build just a bit down in there. That looks pretty good. Soften that out. Just look at this, how that's just starting to look in that sky. Really, really nice. Now, let's come in and he builds a real powerful cloud on this one that I want to kind of emulate a little bit. And so I'm going to take a little bit more of my blue color, and we're going to push that blue right in here, right up against this light, and we'll pull this out here like that. And we'll build this cloud right up against this bit of blue. Nice clear, just a nice clear blue. Not too much going on against that blue. It's like a clear spot in the sky right there, just boom. And then we'll whisper some of the clouds through into that, but not go too close to that blue right there like that. And I love that. And so what that does is that's going to give us a nice area here. We'll take a little bit of gray and we'll build some of the gray cloud. That'll come right in here, and then we'll build some light and some white. Some of the whitest area of our painting is going to come right in here, playing up against this. This is going to give a lot of power right into this area, right in this crescent shape that I want to make in this area. So I want my wave to have some interest right up in here. But you know, it's where Richards would pull a lot of that interest into the wave. We're going to pull it into the sky and down and in, and see if we can get both of these guys working together here really well. Let's come in and heavy white here and just build some white edges, wispy edges right up on top of that. We want to just kind of tap around here, heavy white like this, and I'm just going to kind of tap and push here the edge, the top edge of this cloud here like that, and I want that to be very rough like that. I'm going to grab some more textured white like this and just kind of build this cloud out like that. Okay, and we'll pick up some more textured white, just big dollops of white right on the brush like this. And we'll build this next little area where, right up against where we left that shadow. We'll then come in here like this and put some white right there, see? And we'll let some of that just kind of dribble off and fade off to this side. He does that on that one cloud, which is nice. I like that, just kind of fading like that. Yeah, it's nice, nice, nice. And build this right in here. All kinds of ways to build clouds, and there's a lot of times I love to paint, all different kinds of artists, and Moran, I really like his roughness to his painting of his clouds. There's a lot of the Dutch, that they would get these real smooth clouds. You go in there with a mop brush or so and kind of work the colors and blend them through a little bit. Not blend them as much as blur them, but you get these beautiful soft puffy clouds. And I like Moran's use of this textures like this. It's wonderful. It's different, and it was refreshing, and it left a lot of power in movement into the sky. So the skies had just a lot of movement and power, and I really enjoyed that about his paintings here. So we'll push just a little bit of light edge right up in here into this one here, and then we'll grab some of our lights right into our grays here. We'll grab some grays, some mid-value grays here. Yeah, like right about in there, this color. And we'll start working these mid-value grays down and through in here. And work the different shapes. See how I move my brush in different shapes and patterns, so I don't just set up. And that, that's moving it in all different kinds of ways, because that those clouds are churning and building and pushing in all directions. And so you don't just want to paint like this. A lot of landscape painters, a lot of landscape paintings that I see and I teach, I watch the students, they go boom, boom, like this. And I go, no, you gotta build it slowly. Don't just go in there and do big horizontal strokes. You gotta build it slowly. You gotta imagine these things just kind of building and working. And, like this is maybe have some rain back here, coming along in these areas here, a little bit of rain and stuff back in through here, coming in and dropping down. How the clouds kind of streak down a little bit in there like that, and you've got to, the clouds are beautiful. Don't just put them in there real fast, because, with some paintings we do, but, here, this is going to be a lot of interest into our sky. So let's take a little time here, and let's just have a little bit of fun painting that beautiful movement right in here, right in this area here, and grabbing that and letting that dark come through here like that. You see that beautiful gray of the sky here, and that plays nice. And we'll go to a medium gray here, which will take us a little bit softer out this way. So we'll go some medium grays out right up into some of that light we put in there before. Here like that. That's beautiful sky. Here's some nice medium gray color. Medium grays. And just work those through. That's pretty, right in through there. And we'll take some of that medium gray right in here for right now. Right into those, softly into some of those. There. And then we'll pick up some more light here. Let's pick up some more light, and we'll tap right into that. Soften this a little bit into the brush. Tap it into the brush. Soften it in a little bit into the brush here. And let's come down, and we'll establish like another little edge of clouds, and maybe a little more light, and just kind of hit the edge of that just a bit there, of that cloud. And push those up and in there. A little more white here. Push this cloud up in here. Again, this is my area of interest, so I want these clouds to have some building and some interest right into that part of the painting here. And there we go. Build that down through here, and you you can wiggle the brush and push like this, and that just gives you soft, wonderful movement. Push the paint into that. You got a lot of paint now building on the surface, and so you can push that paint into that and get some of that nice softness into that. So if you lightly touch it, you can lightly touch the edge of it. You can put on that nice texturing like I did right up there, and then you can also do a real pushing down of the color and work that color, work the colors together here, like that here, and which we're going to want some of that working together right down through here, and up along the edge of the coast. And I spent the majority of my youth living on the coast and watching the coast, and I lived for 30 years on the coast right next to the ocean, watching the ocean and the ocean clouds and fog and stuff that can come in associated with that. Right up in through here, we'll push some of those grays right up in through here, soft foggy grays, right down onto the ocean, right down into the water there. Play against that and work it up and swirl it up and through and soft. See, I'm running the brush real quick movements, but short here, so it's just kind of working into my heel line there and stuff. I want that here. Now we'll come back and we need to get the our blue blacks in here again. Let's grab some of that blue blacks and let's build that big cloud up in this area again, coming down. Big stormy type cloud coming down into this area here. It's going to come right in here, and we'll let it play right up against the edge of that one there. So you'll get the feeling of a little bit of light, the light cloud coming through into the back behind this kind of gray cloud. This is one of the things that Thomas Moran does a lot of. So this gray one is coming here. We'll get a little blue and black right into your grays. This grayish one here is coming right in front. He's going to advance that just with the dark sitting right in front of that, just like that. And so it gives you the feeling like this is sitting like maybe right up in front of that this light bank that comes back through there. Then these dark clouds are coming up to here. Now he's known for doing that in his skies. He does that a lot, and I love it. I love it into his skies here. So we'll add some of that into the sky here. Really pretty. Get some of that going in there. There we go. Some of that nice gray summery storm color coming down. And we'll get up to we'll lighten that gray just a bit. Let's drop that down in here so it can work right into our little foggy type area. Right down in there. And I can soften that out. Let's just take my, you can soften it out with your hand. That works really, really nice. I can swirl it around here like this too. So clouds should move a bit here. And so I can grab some of this and just lightly create some movement of the clouds. And I just really got rid of that edge that I didn't want to do. That was a little too much here, so we'll just put that edge of that dark coming down there again. There we go. Just let that whisper right there. Now let's be a little more careful with that, Dave. There we go. So that just sets up a beautiful little bit of that there, and some soft white kind of colors here coming down. We'll take a little bit of our blues, just a little whisper of that right up in here, just to break that just a bit here. Some nice soft grays right in here. Nice soft gray. Just to say, okay, here's some clouds right up there coming that way maybe. He's known for this. This is a really nice look that he does. These lights and darks. Bit of a cloud here. So the dark cloud sitting right there. Some of that blue coming through. Some of that nice blue color coming through in there. Back behind there. That's lovely. And then we'll add let's grab a big old dollop of white there. We'll set that in that we can just tap into and work this white. Some of the textures that we want to work in, because I want to get some textures up to some of these areas, and when I want to build a little areas of movement of the clouds up in here. So really, if you look at everything that I'm doing here, I'm starting out very big, and then I'm working medium, and now I'm getting smaller and smaller into some more details. Do you see? So now I'm coming back in, and we're going to add some smaller little movements here that are going to break up some of these clouds, some of these areas here. Little bits of movement here. So we put in the big clouds, and then we come in and we start working some other areas. And he's known for doing this. Like, you may have all this here, and then you just put this, and it happens. If you look at it, there's stormy day coming. There's like a swirl of the white, cloud that got caught up into a swirl and pushing the edge here like this, and you might have that a real light blue or so showing up right, just boom, right in that area there. It just comes in, right, shows a little bit of blue. Let's get a little more light blue right in there. There's a little bit of light blue right in there, and that's what makes his sky so magnificent, is that, boom, here's a little blue coming right back in there again, And they're really, really nice. Let's put a little bit of that right out here. Let's just drag just an idea of that light right here, just to break that edge in there like that. And that's really nice there. Okay. And we'll put a soft gray right along our water's edge here. We'll work into that, right into the edge of these clouds, right along that. There, that'll help us with distance. Here, let's put a little bit of a idea of a cloud right in here. This will be right up against where our land is going to come up into that, and having a little dark right there will help us with some dimension to it. But see how that just and we'll let that fade away right into some kind of foggy gray. Right in here, just swirl that around, just a little bit of that foggy gray. I'm from Eureka, California. We know fog. There was over 300 foggy days a year there, so we know fog. Should know how to paint fog. They're real wispy here. And then I'll keep this all soft, not a lot of textures to it, just all soft, this movement in here. Not a lot of textures. And you can use like a big or soft brush like this to just soften a bit of that movement here. I don't want to do much, just to blur it, just to soften and blur it just a little bit here and there. Don't want to do much to it for sure. I want to keep those, look at those and keep some of these edges here. Some of these I'll just tap into that and just soften those down just a bit. Some of those edges I'll keep clean like that. That's nice. I'm going to work a little bit more of my white and in here, and then I think we'll go down onto the beach and stuff, and we'll grab a little bit more of this white right in here, just to get a little bit more going on to those clouds there. I want to really give a nice line of blue in here, so I'm going to push back paint in some blue, and this is what I said you can do, and it works really well. Back paint in that blue, keeps that clearness to that blue right into this area, which is kind of an important little area right in here. that is going to give us our interest to that cloud. See that right in there? We'll just back paint that right up in here. And he does this on this one painting, and it's quite magnificent. Of course, we're doing this in the one his painting. This would be about a half a scale to it, so we can't add as much as he does, but it does look pretty nice. You leave that nice clear blue right in there like that, and then you take off to some of this other interest. It's just wonderful how he builds that cloud there. So let's build this one right up here. Build that edge just a bit more right up in there. We'll let that blue come in there as a little bit of a shadow before we put the next little bit of light on that edge here. A little bit of light on that edge. Right in there like that. Boom, just that little edge of that light there. And we'll let some of that diminish off. We'll let it show up again here. Right up over here. Boom, right up over there. Let that show up again. Let it diminish down. So it shows up just a little bit there as that back cloud. So you can see as I'm working these clouds, I started out big. I'm getting smaller and smaller, thinking little detail, right? We'll put just a little bit of that right along this edge here of that blue area here. Move some of that up and around. Here. There we go. And you'll see that, you'll see these edges of the white edges and stuff pulling down and, around the clouds, especially around breaks of the blue and stuff. So you put one right in there, and that's pretty nice. And get some of that. Let's get some of that gray, that nice darker gray back in here too. So I don't go completely to that medium gray. We'll see a little bit of that dark gray coming through. That helps give a little bit more into this. See that gray as more as a shadow here to the bottom of this cloud. Here, let's just soften that through. There we go. See how that softens really nice? Just a quick little touch there. It's really nice, and I got rid of that edge there again. I tell you, this is going to be my little problem this time, I'm telling you. I want to keep that edge to this one, like this is a little cloud coming right up in front of that. So I want to keep that edge pretty clear right in there. So keep that nice little edge. So I just use just the tip of the brush here like that with a little paint to kind of give that edge, that look at that edge there of that cloud. So that's better. And we'll put a little bit of light right in front of it. And this is going to be pretty good for us now to head on down to our beach, back in the back areas back here, set in some of those areas. And you can do these now with look at that, that's just too much of a line. 1 second while I just pull this back this way a bit. That's just too much of a line, too much of a straight line right in that edge of that cloud. So that's a little better. And it's it's a variation to it, which makes it more interesting. I add just a little bit more right in there. This is just almost pure white, heavy textured paint going right on the surface now here, right in there. Just pure white textured paint right there like that. And yeah, that works nice. And I step back. Sometimes you hear my chair rolling because I always roll back, like this to see it. And that's what you should be doing is, like a lot of easel painters when they paint on the easel, they step back to take a look at it. You want to judge your painting, not here like this. You want to judge your painting back about 3 feet. So if you're judging it like this, you'll tend to blend it out more. You want to step back about 3 feet, about the viewing distance that you're going to have, and your eye will optically blend some of those things there. So if you start getting into that habit of stepping back, you'll end up painting, more textures and more roughness to your painting. If you don't step back, you'll generally, what you'll do is you'll end up painting stuff that is just too soft. Looks, and then when you go hang it up, it looks great. And then when you go hang it up, it just looks like it just loses its energy and its interest. And that's because it's, blended too much. And so I love how he does the tops of these little wispy clouds right here. Then I got to stop. But you can, these are just fun to play with and to slowly evolve. But we have to move on to some other things here as well. So I'm just going to just soften that out just a bit here. Just like that. Push that up and around. There we go. That looks pretty good. So that starts at nice billowing, puffy little areas there, and maybe a little bit more right in here. And then we'll set their mountains up. We'll set up a little bit more here, right in there like that. Let that kind of foggy area come in there and work through. I love how he, and I do it sometimes with just a knife, but you just take and swirl it through like this. Just swirl it through, getting that nice movement of some lights and stuff through it, through the clouds, just swirling through like that. I love to do it with the knife. When I did the big Van Elst one, where we did the Isle of Skye, beautiful. You make real liquid, soupy color, and you work it with your knife. That's also another wonderful way to do it. So if you haven't painted that Isle of Skye, you should go paint that one, because it's a great way to do that. And I've got this red just stuck to the bottom of my canvas there, so I'm going to put that over there, help that stick out. Now let's come back over here. I'm going to go to a smaller flat, like the number 8 or something like that. It can be any size here. I'm going to come right down into my tan colors, which are right down in here, and we'll take a look at the tan in the sky here, a little bit of blacks into those here. And I'm just going to come in and I'm going to set up kind of just a light and dark plane to these back hills back here. And what I want to do is just that, paint it light and dark, light and shade, and just add like a light struck plane, like a light struck paint plane like here, like that, okay? And then maybe a little bit of a shadowy plane here underneath it here like this, so you'll get, gives it a little bit of an interest there to it. So I'll step in just a little bit more here, okay? But we're gonna do it kind of quick. We don't want to put in a tremendous amount of, light dark in that, so we want to do it kind of quick. Let me just move this over just a little bit more here, so you can see the palette too, which will help you. Okay, and so I'm going to come in and we'll touch into a little bit of light, like say we'll put a area of this white light right in here. This will be a light plane, maybe a light plane. We'll hit a little shadowing color down into a little bit of darkness or darker color, and we'll put in like a little shadow plane here like that. So we're getting the ideas of like little hills and stuff back through there. And generally you do it pretty quick. We'll just give the idea here of this here, streaking it through of light, and it's going to go all the way down here towards the water's edge here. This light, this little light area here, right down towards the water's edge, back hills, back sandy hills here, like that. Okay. Maybe a little bit of a light edge here, like this, just very suggestive here. And then we'll work a little shadow. Let's get a little bit of black and some of that nice red I had over here. Just that little brownish color or so in here. Some of that. We'll put some suggestive light and work the edges here like this. So I work in like little V shapes here. You see that? Little V shapes. And that'll give you the impression of little sandy hills here. Here, pull down. Little touches of light. Here. And if you don't think about it too much, it'll look like it. It'll look like the little hills It'll look perfect like the little hills. And you want to, we want to make this, some of these kind of pull down just a little bit, streak with this, the shape of the beach, because that's where we're going. It's right down towards that beach there. Let's get a little bit of our blacks and reds right down in here. A little bit of our yellows over here. These are our beach colors, our sand and beach colors, all right in here. Sky, and right down in here, these colors, beautiful colors for your beaches, your yellows and reds, some browns right in there. And we'll make it a little darker here as these come forward here. That will put this right up in front of it here and be very suggestive with some shapes. Maybe these are, little hills, little trees, bushes, something right along in there. And we'll tap some other colors in there as well. But the dark will bring it forward, see? The dark colors will bring it forward. We'll tap some colors along. And Moran paints, this is how Moran paints. He's got a painting that's just like this. And quite nice, but we're gonna, the one painting that he has that he does like this, that he does these beaches and hills and people and stuff like that, and I don't like what he had, I don't like his water at all, so nowhere near as nice as Richard's, so we'll do a little Richard's water. So I'm gonna just pull some of that down through here like this, and you want to grab some of these lights, model it on your brush, and just kind of make some bold statements of strokes right there like that, and just leave that, because that'll all look like, when it's all done, that's all going to look great. We should not point them up too much like mountains there, Dave. We should round them a little bit here like that. So let's do that, and then work a little bit of shadow into that here. There we go. Grab that light plane again, like that. Just grab that light plane. I'm using the light plane here, just like that. Just a quick stroke like that to the right side. That'll set up my light plane. My shadow plane sets up that side here, like that. Just work those shadows. Shadow planes down there like that. And it's amazing now that this starts to look like that, and the colors of it, and we'll drag down right down in here. We'll drag some of this down in here. Okay, right down in through here. Grab some of that, move some of those colors. Let's grab some more yellows, browns. We'll vary the color here a little bit. That's what's going to make your painting interesting, is this variation of this color. So, grab some of these in through here, these colored, light colors, sandy colors, and just kind of drag through those in here. You could use your bristle, you can use anything, but on this linen, this fusion just works wonderful. So maybe I'll set this up, but if you're going to do little people in here, you're going to want to keep your streaks to a minimum, because we're going to do just impressionistic people. So just a little bit of that movement in through that, like that, sets up a little hill, and a little bit of beach sand right up in here into the front, like that. Here we go. You can have little bits of darker or greens in there, like maybe there's some plants and stuff there, and that works pretty nice there like that. And we'll come up right up to our front up here, and let's just add some of that right up in here, working through our little suggestive people here, right down into our water, some of those colors. Vary the color a little bit. Now, as we get into the water, when we get into this wet sand down into the water there, we can add some more of the sky color. So as you get right down by the water here, we'll get some of this grays and blues right in the, reach up and grab some of those grays and blues and stuff like that, and you'll bring those two colors together right in there, and that will help us, make the wet sand and the water. So grab some of these grays right from your sky, some of these colors right from your sky and the grays, and bring those together, because water is really sky. That's what it is. It's sky. Okay, so grab some of those here. Grab some more of those yellows and reds and blacks here. Nice beach colors. Let's get a little bit more of that right up, a little more color into it as it's coming forward here. And short choppiness, short choppy strokes as you're coming forward here as well, because that'll give more movement, and the movement is what's going to make it come forward. That's what we want it to come forward, is with that movement. So we'll take just a, there we go. That's a little better. Just taking that down in size just a bit. And adding just a little more color right in here will bring that part of it forward a little bit more, just a bit more dark color here will help this come forward. The darkness brings it forward, and that's why we really want to have it quite a bit darker here. Coming up this side. Here we want to get some of that light right up against this edge here, though. That heads right to that horizon line, which those are going to just come together there at that horizon line, the water and that edge there. But I paint it back and forth. You see how many times I go back and forth? That is so very important. It's not a mistake. It's back and forth with color. Lights and darks, lights and darks, lights and darks. And I'm crossing them, and each time I'm approaching it, I'm doing it a little different. And that's giving you the variation. And that's what I like to do, and find your way. But more than anything else, you're back and forth and trying all kinds of different things, especially up in here. We're going to do it many times, getting, like, see, I'll put in some of these soft yellows. You may say, okay, that looks great. Well, no, we'll come back and we'll do it again and change the yellow up this time and add just a little bit more. And each time we do that, that adds a little bit more and a little bit more interest. And, that's the difference between an artist and a painter. An artist will take their time and work that back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And sometimes some of my students, they just want to paint it. They don't want to take that time to go back and forth. And you really need to. You really, really need to. If you like it, if you like the look of that, take some time and just go back and forth a little bit with your coloring. And it just adds so much to your painting, so much to the life and energy of your painting. I'm going to take just a little bit of blue right back in some of this. Here is this little shadows of these hills back in here as well. That blue is always just a real nice, cool shadowing back in there. And again, it's the back and forth of it that just really help set up those hills. So we'll do a lot of that back and forth back up into here. But what I'm going to do now is we'll come over here to this side here, and we're going to set up some of our water here. And that might be a little bit difficult to show on that side there. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab another palette here and move this over and move it so we can look at the water, and we'll look at my palette here on the right side. So give me just a minute and I'll be back and we'll do that. Okay, welcome back. I went over, I moved it all over here, and I even went in and got a little bit more white just in case. So now we'll come in here. So I have the palette over on this side, and we're going to come in and we're going to paint some water here along this edge. Now, we have this nice gray color, and usually as you reseed stuff, the colors will become closer together. But we're going to put some water back here, and we're going to follow along the sky that we have here. So water we're going to make it a little darker because it's becoming stormy up along that edge there. So the light is not reflecting as much. So when the light doesn't reflect quite as much, you'll get some darks up along that water's edge as well. So we'll do some lights, but we're going to do some darks right along in this water's edge. Drop that in, right in there like that. And we'll put just a little bit of light right along that edge, just to break that up a bit. But you'll have some dark showing there as well. There we go, right in like that. And then we'll let these kind of come together right over in here and that area there. Maybe a bit of dark showing through every once in a while. Right in there like that. That nice variation right along that edge. That's what we're looking for. Now, as we're going to be doing waves, we'll take our phthalo and our black, and we'll do the troughs. We'll look at the troughs of the waves. Now, our waves we want angled to the beach here slightly like this. So, you know, we would look at the waves coming in like this, like in this, in sets, like by an angle like this, so they're coming into the beach, like, you know, just like what you're doing there, like that. Okay, so that would be kind of how they're doing, and you can just kind of get a visualization of what you're going to do. Somewhere right around, we want to keep the waves not, you know, not huge, because we want to keep the interest right back up in here where we have people and stuff, and any kind of wave might compete a lot with the people. So we'll keep them soft, but let's add a trough here, right along through here. Now the trough would actually get narrower. It'd be wider up here and narrower down through there. So I got that misstated just a bit, but we'll just kind of imagine the troughs down through here, and then we'll just lighten and widen out as this wave is going to come out here onto the beach here, like this. We'll get some of that motion here this way with our stuff this way. So we'll have the trough there. Now we'll break up a little bit of this, because the wave is going to be foaming and breaking up. Here the waves will be. And of course you'll have all different kinds of ocean stuff. I have several DVDs on painting the oceans, and I'm going to do a lot more with those. I love to paint the ocean, basically because I spend so much time on the ocean. But the thing is, you're going to break up right in through here. What's more, these waves, as these wave sets break, some go inward depending on their power, some go in a little farther than others, and so the trough line breaks up a little bit in through here. So you'll see a little bit, like you may have we may come right in here and say, okay, here's just going to be a little wave line shadow right here, and pull this in, so a wave might be coming in like that, and we'll pull in. So there's all kinds of ways to do the waves. You put the lights on, and then you can put a little shadow. If the wave has any kind of, what's breaking down into it, has any kind of height to it whatsoever, you'll have this little wave line shadow that you'll tap right along that edge there, and that works pretty well for that in there. So, and then you can use knives. I gotta reach over here and grab my knife. You can use any kind of your knives, your painting knives and stuff like that, also to do some of these waves. I'll do majority of it here with my brush, but we'll use the knife here as well. I'm going to take some light color here and some of our blues. We're going to key off of that. We might take a little bit of our yellows, our beachy colors, into some of these water, you know, put some of that into this water as well here. And I'm going to start just by creating the motion here, the in and out motion of the water as it's coming in at this angle here. So we want to create a little bit. We're not painting the wave as much yet, as we're just creating some of the motion that we want this water to have coming in and out. There's going to be our trough line here, a little wider here on this side here, and then a little bit narrower, and we'll break it up. I don't want to make just a big long line of that. I want to break it up a little bit, maybe another little one there. So we have our line, but you don't want to just make one big line. You want to break it up a little bit, like maybe there's another little set right there, so it's not just one here. And then the sky color comes down. The sky color is what really makes the water down into here. So we'll grab some of our sky color that we have into here, and that's going to reflect the water right in here onto the beach. So I just pick up big dollops of our sky color here, right in here like this, and that's going to be the water on the beach. And we're going to take some of our beach sand colors here, which, let's move this over just a bit more. Beach sand colors here, which is our yellows and some reds and blacks here. Okay, this nice beach sand, and we'll lighten this up. Here, model that with the brush. Let's add a little extender to that. And we'll work some of those colors. Just let that blue sit in there too. It doesn't hurt anything. And we'll work those back and forth here. Soften that water line. Back and forth like that. Soften that water line. Let it become a little bit lighter back here. A little bit lighter right back there. And here we go, something like that. And pull those in. See those colors get pulled in and out there. Okay. And now what we'll do is we'll start to pick out, where we want to have some of our waves, our interest of our waves, and how we're going to be. This is going to be a little wave shadow. We'll take a little light color with our little blue, and that wave will come right along here like this, and we'll just push that right along here, and just pull out. Grab some of that motion. We'll just use the edge of the brush here. We'll just cut it in. You could use a knife. You can use a lot of things. To cut that wave in like that. Just grab a bit of on the brush here like this. Cut that wave in. Let's do it a little different right there. Cut that wave in here like this. And if you leave a little bit of that texture there, it gets a little foamy. There. Okay. And that works pretty nice. And we'll grab a little bit of that and drag some of this white out like this. Just take that brush, just drag some of that light out like that, and use your brush just kind of flatten, just kind of real quick like this, and that'll make it really foamy looking here. Okay, which we'll just use it kind of flat. You could use your knife in there for this. So sometimes I will grab my knife and I'll use my knife in there like that. I'm going to do this mostly with the brush, I think, today. Just mostly brush. A little bristle brush works really nice. But see that little bit of foaminess that comes in here just comes from the edge of that. Just using that nice thick white paint like that. And just tapping that through here like that. And we'll just give a little bit. We'll let this whites kind of settle down here into the and the back here. We won't do pure whites. We'll just kind of let it fade away here let these colors come together. So you may pick up a little bit right there like that, and then it just fades away. But up here in the front, you might pick up even more, and we might even, pile it up here a little bit more like this. Push it up, pilot it up a little bit more here. Right in here, as it's closer to you, you might see some nice, movement of the wave a little bit more. And then let that diminish down in size like that, just fading out like this, and just let this kind of just tap this and let it fade away. And that gives you wonderful dimension here. Let's put this little edge right in here like this. And that push up into that little bit of wave right there. So you can see let's add a little edge right in here of this wave right there. Right up on there like that. Okay. And we'll make it a little foamy right in here. So we'll just pick up some more color. Just use your brush. These fusions are beautiful for that. Just use your brush flat like this. And just kind of run that around in there. And that'll give you all kinds of nice foaminess to the water there. And here we go. Like that. You can grab a little bit of that darker blue as a shadow and put in a little bit of that wave shadow, a little touch of it, just hitting it here and there, which for crashing little waves or bumping little waves like that, they'll have that. And sometimes they'll have little trails of it coming through like this, so you might have water pulling through. I spent a lot of time on the beach watching water here. So we'll put a little bit more of a hit right in here. And I love to just tap it along and then pull it in and out like this too. That gives a little bit of a, motion to it. And that. But we're going to keep these small and soft, not huge waves, not big crashing waves, because that would just take away from everything we want to do right down over in the towards the boat. So just create some movement here, just like that. And let's create. Now, if you're going to do like a little wave, like here's that trough, and so we can have more of a wave like right in here, and then this other trough right in there. So a little bit of a wave. We can let that diminish down here, right like that. But we can build more of a wave. I don't want to make a big, huge curling wave, but a little bit of a splash right in this area wouldn't be too bad. And the wave is really like, let me just take a little blue here with this. A wave is going to come like this. It's like a curve. It goes up and around and over like that. Okay, so that's what you've got to envision. So you've got to envision this like a little curve right here like that. Okay, and that's the wave itself right there. The curving of it, and then you've got to imagine this is pulling. What happens is as the wave comes this way, it pulls the water and then it curves over. So it goes up and curves over. So the motion of your brush has to be curving to build the wave here, and we can push some of that trough in, and your trough is your real dark right here, blue and black here. We can push that in and right into there like that to set that trough in, and then let that wave just kind of bounce around like that. We can, and I don't want to make these too big. I have lots of paintings where I do really big, beautiful waves, and you can go paint beautiful waves on those. At this one, we want to do just ever so soft and subtle here. This water's just coming up because the people and everything are going to be small. So, you build huge waves, you get everything out of perspective here. So these waves are going to be big enough by the time I paint little people right here, over on this side over here, little people. Those waves right here will be pretty big here. So we'll just do some soft little movement back in through here to say, okay, here comes some. And waves, as you go back here, if you're setting up, the lines of waves, as you get back in through here, they would get a little closer together. So as they get further back, they get closer together. But I don't want to go that far back, and we want to do some of that just with our darks. We just want to suggest some movement back in through here. We want to just keep the whole ocean kind of calm here. Some nice blues here. Nice deep blues of the ocean there. A little bit of it here and there. A little distance to that. That just gives a little distance by having like that. So it might be a little wave breaking right there. A little motion to it. That'll put it back there into the distance. Really nice. Here. Maybe there's just a touch of that right there. Okay. Let's just add a little bit of foamy movement right in here of this coming down. Here breaking and coming in. Right in that one. And we'll just that nice curvature there. A nice curvature into the wave. And a little bit of foam. You got to imagine it curving in and then pulling back like that. Now some will come in and you'd paint the little sea foam and stuff like that into there. That might be a bit much for us on this painting to do a bunch of foam and everything on it. But you could have a light little indication of some of that being sucked up into the wave. the foam that comes in. And of course, how much foam you put on it depends on how rough your ocean. So if you don't have a rough ocean, you don't have that much foam onto it, you know. So all depends. Now here we'll get a little bit, got a little bit of that yellow into that, and I like that color into that. I like that little bit of yellow that hit that edge there. Like that. That's pretty nice. Maybe that hits a little bit right there. And the more I paint these, the more fun I have, you know, painting the ocean. You know, the more I work with them. Now that I understand it a little bit more, and I still don't understand it, even living in it for 30 years, I still don't understand it completely, because there's a difference between watching it and painting it, understanding it completely, and I'm getting there, but it's really a lot of fun. There we go. So I get that little motion to that right there, and you know, and then you got to get these little bits of breakers coming up in through here. You want, and then little bits of stuff here, lights that makes it kind of foamy. And my foam was stopping a little quick right there, so I want to drag a little bit of that out here, and some of that motion right out here where it picks up some of that other wave, and maybe just little touches of it right back out here. Still a little soft. That's a bit much paint right there. We'll push that in, and then we'll just push it right into that yellow, and that'll soften that all out. See how we can go ahead and you can push it in. It's just like painting the edge of a petal of a flower. For those of you that paint flowers with me, is I'll push it in there, and then I'll just push negative or lift back out like that, and it's just like painting the edge of a flower or so. Petal of a flower. You know, a lot of painting is to just to do the looks, is to capture the looks and movements and stuff of objects. And you know, I always said that, I say this to my students, and if you want to understand a flower, you got to paint the ocean. If you want to understand the ocean, you got to paint flowers. It's all painting, and it's all capturing, you know, looking for color movements and objects, petals flowing, scrolls. Scrolls help you paint ocean, because what is that? That is really a scroll right there. So you understand the beautiful movement of a scroll, how that line is going to come up like this, and then roll over, and you know, and roll down like this to create the motion of that wave. So it's got to come up like that, and then it's got to roll over like this and down, and that puts on that wave. You know, and I mean, there's all kinds of great ways to do that. I'm going to splash that back up again here, but that's what painting does. Is it just you know, one shape flows into another shape, and so learning how to paint scrolls helps you with ocean. Learning how to paint ocean helps you with flowers. It all works. It's all beautiful, just shapes and forms. We'll just tap some of that along in there, like that. That's just real kind of pretty. There. Yeah, that works kind of nice. And let's just drag a little bit further out some of this sky and light color a little bit further out here. Make this look kind of wet, nice out here. Maybe the tide's going back out, so some of this will look a little wet here, wet with water, and so we get the blues and the whites here like this, and just let that just drag out here. Yes, right into that right there. And then let that just fade away here. Right back there like that. Little bits of light. There. And let's just move this over just a bit. You can see that edge there. Now that edge is a little bit too precise, too perfect. So I like to undulate it a little bit. So let's take it back in and let it come back out again. So it's not quite so perfect. Now the angle that you're doing here is either, if I come like this, my beach slopes. And so if I come flat like this, the beach stays flat. So I want to keep this a little bit flat here. Here, like that. There we go. A little bit of the white just to say we have it there. Like that. It's kind of nice. Maybe a little bit of the edge there, like maybe there's a, you know, you can see a little splashing wave there into the distance here. A little splashing wave right off there, like that. Let's get rid of that just a bit there so that wave doesn't line up perfect. If you line up your waves just all, you know, one way there, just all the way, it just cuts it in half. So I don't want to line them all up. I want to get the idea of sets, but I don't want to line them up here. And the last little bit here of, grab some dark, we'll drop that in there. There. A little bit of light, set that in there. It pulls back. That's pretty good for the look that I want to capture right in there. So let's come back over to the other side. Now that I know how to do this really efficiently, we'll come back up over here to the other side. Here, we'll work. So we'll set that so you get a good idea. Let me just step back just a bit so you can see where that painting is now. Here, you can see we've developed this here. Now I want to pull this down. I want to work on this boat into this area down in through here. Okay, so we still got a little bit left to do. Fun though. It's a very fun painting how it's coming. Okay, so let's go down and let's work into this area here. I'll slide this to the side. Try to stay out of that wet ocean water over there for a little bit. We'll put our palette right back up here to the top here. Okay, and we'll come right back in here and try to work some of this area. We'll come in just a bit more here. Okay, and I want to work on the boat and I want to work on the beach, and so some of the stuff I want to do up here first is I want to work right onto the beach here, and I'll pull this down just a bit here, and I want to create some movement. So I got my beach colors here. Actually, I think I'm going to do this more with my smaller, with my number 8 or 10 here. I'm going to make up some more beach colors because I'll be using this for a while. Reds and yellows, some orange blacks, some nice beach sandy colors here. Just model those all together right up in here. And we're going to start putting a lot of this texturing and this movement of these colors right up in here. And the knife works really well for that as well. You can just grab your knife and you can just grab this and work these around in here like this. And we'll grab even more white, drop that in, and just start to really create some textures up here. So we'll start out with a little bit of it and we'll add some more. And these textures are going to really bring this part of the beach forward here. And you can come in here and you can paint rocks, you can paint, you know, bits of driftwood or anything that you want. I'm going to paint the boat in there today because I like the idea of the boat. And, you know, it's painting boats are popular right now. Every time I paint a boat, I sell the painting right away. So it's, I want to add a boat to this one. It's just practicality is what I'll do a lot of it. Boats, people like boats. And so, you know, they're beautiful, they're fun. And every time I make them, boy, those paintings sell right away. So, and that's my job. You know, I paint with you guys. We're learning how to paint and do that. But, you know, the majority of my business is selling art, and so I paint what people want to buy, flowers and boats, and you know, and I've had a lot of requests which I'm going to do for mountains. So I'm going to go back and do some nice American mountains, they said. So I'm going to do some of those. So I'm just going to work this in and just really kind of add a lot of beachy colors in here, and just kind of short with this knife. See how that works that all up? You could use your brush, you could use your knife, but getting these nice textures and stuff like that in here just adds so much. Some nice movement to this. Then as you get back, of course, we'll let that sit like right in here. Then as we get back, plane wise, what we'll do is we'll just start to soften some of this out here. So we'll let it be real chunky right up in here. Then we'll use the same kind of coloring and stuff in here, but we'll blur it out slightly here. Not blend it, blur it out slightly so it appears softer, and that's going to give you more dimension. And what that really is edges. What I'm constantly watching all the time is the edges. Okay, so a real focused edge. So if you look in here, this little stuff that's in here are nice edges. These are edges, soft edges here, harsh edges, or more defined edges as they come forward. So if I come back here, if I do any of that kind of work back here, see, I've just flattened out my painting because I've put edges back there. So I can have that color back there, but I want to put that color back in there like this, so it could have some movement to it, but the edging is softer. Okay, and then as I come forward here, as I come forward, I can let some of these edges start to show up a little bit more. And so that's what you got to do, is you've got to start the edges and then let it fade away here. So that's what I'm watching as I'm doing this, and I'm painting it over and over and over and over and over again, is I'll let the edges, stay right in there and then slowly fade away as they go back. And that is so very important to the dimension that you're going to establish in your painting here. Okay, so let those edges stay. Here, let's grab a little bit of those blues too, because that cool color just looks so nice up into the painting up here, into some of your sand here as well. Just grab some of that sky color and, just grab that in here and put that in. Always remember that even though you're painting around the water and painting around the beach, you may have these yellows, that sky color going in just adds so much to the painting here. So, yeah, just works nice. And so right up in here, I might just take my knife here and just work it a little bit, getting a little bit more edging to it. Lots of stuff, maybe a little bit of blues into that, some edging. And that just gives some of that nice movement right in there, like that. See that nice movement? And, artists of old, some of them would soften all of that out and stuff. They'd still have the same concepts of edges, coloring in edges, but they might, soften it out. And, in the old days, we'd blend it out. And now we don't blend as much. And people don't like as much blending. We like the contrast of these kinds of things. And so that's where I'm going as I'm trying. And as an artist and as a teacher, I'll show all different kinds of ways, but it edges. So these are a little bit much back here. So then I will run my finger through it. You can run your brush through it until I start to look at, here diminishing back in through there. That's what I'm looking for. And you can build shapes. You can do all kinds of fun things. We can make some more darks and build some shapes. We can build some rocks. We can build some roughness right in through here, to that. But this is every kind of little edge that we give in here just helps this come forward a little more up into this area here. So we want to add a little bit of that in here. But I also got to worry about my boat there, because I want to paint my boat. So before I get going too much more into that, I might leave that there. And we'll go in and we'll paint the boat here a bit. I'll take some blues and my whites, and we'll paint it right up here. We'll take some of my phthalo blue. And we'll take some whites here, and we'll come back in here and we'll give that little arched look to the back edge of that. I want to paint small. As a matter of fact, I might want to go down to a smaller little flat here. Let's go down to my number 4 here. And you know, and I want to add just a little light dark interest. Matter of fact, I'm going to zoom in for you guys here. Let's paint the boat up here a little bit more where we can all see that a little bit better. Maybe back just a bit so I can show more of the palette. Here, okay, that'll work. So I'm just going to use my little number 4. I scoop up some of this paint. So again, I'm watching my edges of my of this boat. I want to put the boat in like that. I want to tap in some nice light edges stuff here. So I have a picture here of a boat that I want to put in there. So I want to grab that, and we'll do that. And of this boat. So I'm just going to watch that little boat. That's my idea of putting that in here. This little boat will have a little shadow line here on this side because light is coming through there like that. So that'll be a shadow. We'll establish a shadow side. The inside of the boat here, right like that. We're not going to, you know, we're painting this alla prima, so we're not going to, and you know, we're not going to spin around with a whole bunch of details. But I do want to get some movement into that boat in there like that, and give the idea of some seats. We want to give the idea of some seats that'll come across like this because the boat's sitting at a slight angle. Maybe a little bit of shadow pulling down for those seats there. A little bit right in there against that gunwale, the edge of the boat there. And down. A little more light struck area. Just model right in there like that, pick that up, and just leave that little light strike. And it paints so nice if you let those colors just model on your brush. Paints really nice. There, like that. Let's, of course, this will be the shadow edge here of this boat. It's going to come around like that. And it's going to lift up here along the gunwale right up to the top up there like that. There. We'll pick up a little more shadow. I love to paint the boats, but I love to paint them alla prima and quick. I love casual paintings of them, not hugely defined detail paintings of them. I'm going to put the part of the bow right in there. And we'll have a shadow line of this right along the keel, where the keel goes right onto the ground there. So it we'll take a little sandy color and work that up into that and out. But that keel will come down into that there, and we'll put some light because the side of the boat here is going to be white, so we'll put some light and just round that part right as it's going down to the bottom of the keel a little bit. But we'll put some browns and stuff also into the side of the boat here, like that. Let's put the gunwale on the other side over here. Nice little rounding shape here as it's picking up here. And then we'll, because of the way it's turned here, and I forgot some of the beach over here to this side, so because of the way it's turned, you will not see part of that, of the keel on that one side. So we'll put light over here, the light struck side. There. And let's just drop that line in. That bow, part of the bow there. And tap a little light right there with the corner of the brush. And see, it just looks great if you just underpaint it a little bit, you know. You don't worry about painting it perfect. Just give some shapes to it, a little bit of shaping to it. It just looks so much better, I think. We'll put a little bit of white. I'm just going to take some white here and clean this on my brush here just a bit. And we'll go right up along the edge here. That's a little too much there. Just streak that just a bit there. put some shadow in. Right down there on that side here. And pull this down just a bit. That's a bit light right back there, so let's pull that down. I just want to leave, I want that light side of that boat to be right in here. And we can put a little bit of that light right here, but most of that's down in shadow. So, but I want to give the impression of the planked sides of the little boat here. So just an impression of it. We'll pull a little bit of a shadow line here. There we go. And the plank sides here on this. And I'm just going to pull right out beyond, right into the sand there, and I'll clean that up later. But the little planked lines there on the sides. And there like that. There. And that gives just a fun little boat sitting there like that. I like that. And we're going to go do some very, very casual little people. And I have two brushes that I can do it with, and I'm not real sure because these are real small. I generally will do it with, I generally do everything with my little number 4 like this. But I also have a little number 3 round, which is a synthetic round, which springs more. And I'm going to try it with my number 4. This is it. And what am I thinking here? I want to do casual little people back in there that, and they're basically just colors or impressions of people walking there into the back. And I might put a little rock or something right in here too, right in there. But these little casual people that are going to be there, and they're going to be impressionistic. What I'm thinking of is to do the soft edges. Now that round will give you really, really harsh edges because it springs and it's so flat. This one right here is a very, very soft. It's a watercolor brush and it's very, very soft. So I can get softer edges real easy with it. So I'm thinking of starting with this. I've done little people with the 4 before like this, and it works very, very nice. So I'm going to step in just a little bit more here with this, and we'll look at doing some people in here. So let's just take some brownish kind of color, brown and blue and black here, and we'll just make some, we're going to have some reddish type of colors here. I just want to make first a nice general soft people kind of color here, just here, and just to start some shapes, just the idea of, okay, here's going to be a person that's right here, and you'll be walking along the beach back there, and they might have just a little bit, we're gonna be very casual with their shapes, but I want their edges to be soft, so I want to keep the paint a little bit dry. So as I'm scumbling and putting this on, maybe these are 2 people here walking together, one slightly higher than the other here, and just sketch casual there, keeping those shapes, just the idea of shapes. And maybe there's another smaller one here, and again, you're doing it by proportions of size here. Maybe there's another one there. Maybe, and some of them you can bring out a little bit closer, maybe give a little more color to them. Like maybe this guy has a red, and that person has a little red on them there. Here. Back through here, we can put the idea of 1 or 2 more. Some people back there into the back. Here. And we'll take a little bit of light beach color and back paint slightly into some of them to help shape them up a bit. Well, back paint and give some of the points that really count is like little shoulders and their heads, and that here I'm going to do kind of a little reddish. Thomas Moran did one, a little reddish on his side but again, it's very understated here. The idea of person there. And, you know, we'll just get sketchy with this, especially these browns that are back here as the people are, you know, and that got a little white in the head there, so. And if you don't do too much, everyone will see them as little people. If you play with them too much, then the people will, and if you try to do things a little bit more perfect, then people will see it more perfect, you know. So let's add some other little shapes in here, and Moran did on one of his paintings that I liked. And of course, he didn't have a boat. I like my boat, so. But we'll add a little rocky shape back through here. Maybe something is here. Sometimes I like to add, you know, little things that you add. Like let's come in here and let's add a little idea of a post here coming right up out of the sand here like this. We'll put a little yellow onto it right there like that. Right down into the sand. Little light color here. Okay, we'll just hit that light color with that just a bit there like that. So maybe that's a little post that's coming up. And then we can use like a little dark color or so, and you can put a little line right there around that little boat is just wrapped around and tied around that little post, so it doesn't go anywhere like that. And then we'll put a little bit more sand up and around that post like that, so incorporate that. Add a little movement to that right around there. Thin that down right there a bit. Maybe that little post, but we have that line should come like this. That gives the movement out of the way, so that post, so you have this line and then the post coming out like that. That gives you a nice look to it. So join that in like that. Push a little sand in and around it like that. That sets it in place there. Like that. So you get a nice little post that's coming in. And we'll take a little bit of that sand right up and out. We need to develop the shadow here for the boat on the sand. So we'll have that right there. Nice little boat. And up close, it's, you know, it's not all so great, but boy, you step back just a little bit. You know, let that, get a little blue into that shadow there of that boat. But you step back just, and this shadow is so important. Don't forget this shadow. That shadow is so important for not only the light source, but the whole warm and cool of it all right in there. That's so important for it. Get that little boat. We'll get a little sand right up there by it. Right in there. Then we were building a little sand and a little rocky hill right here, kind of letting this come down. Maybe that was a little mound or something there. Push that back and watch your edges back here. Make sure you're softening out those edges. And little horizontal planes here become very important to help people push back further, you know, push them back. Back in there. And so you can have a little bit of movement there, a little soft movement back there. Just like almost like a dry brushing type movement, very soft with your brush. Just a little bit of the movement here. There. Slowly shaping up my little person here. His head's a little big, so... Whoa, that's a little too bright. A little too light. There we go. The head's a little big. There we go. Just the idea of that little guy. Right there. And some little darks. I'm walking through some of those lights and darks carrying through this area. That's pretty nice. And you know, you can have all kinds of other things. We can put in some little posts, you know, other little movements here. We can put in some other people. Like I might put another group of people, like right over here. Start out with a small little head, widen out their little body, and there, and it's a little bit of dark here. Give them like the idea of a little hat, two little people walking together here, there, like that, just the idea. And just little shadows, little, you don't do too much, you know, but I'll do like little browns and little reds and browns and there. Don't get too carried away, just kind of sketch the shape, like a little arm that might be coming out just a bit there. And there, the person is standing there. Like that, we'll make him just a bit smaller, like he's maybe looking over at those other people there. That looks pretty good. Just people walking on the beach today. Just grab this little one here. And I just want to blur the edge. I got that just a bit, you know, you want to keep those edges kind of soft. So play with them there just a bit. But they're suggestions. Play with them just as a suggestion there. And, you know, you can put a person here leaning over the boat if you want. I kind of like how that's coming together there with that, you know, with those little people and stuff there. I might want to put just a little bits of touches of light into them. I do that sometimes when I do the suggestive little people, just little bits of light, suggestional lights, and there, like, of course, further ones back don't get hardly anything at all. And, you know, maybe, and you can make small ones like, you know, father, son, or mom taking the kids out to the beach. There are all kinds of fun little things you can do. You got to think that kind of stuff, you know, when you're painting them. You got to think that kind of stuff, and then to get just very suggestive. Like a small one down here. Maybe this is just a little guy here. You know, somebody's little small guy just walking there alongside. Put a little dog, you know. Have some fun with them. They're just little suggestive shapes, but blur their edges. That's the most important thing. You've got to keep it soft, keep it blurry. Put some of this color back in here now, and but keep that soft as well. Get some of this movement back in there, but keep that soft. Maybe we'll put this little, I like that kind of little ridge line that's right there. So I'll pick up some browns and stuff here, and we'll put, you know, maybe like this is a little edge of it, of the, you know, how the little edge of the beach right here. Right there, and that looks kind of fun and interesting here on this part of the beach. Make that out a little farther there so that guy isn't in trouble standing on the edge. And we'll soften his edge there a bit too. Right up by the boat there. A little bit of movement, not too much. There. It's looking pretty good. What I want to do, well, then we'll just slope this. So we'll slope that just a bit. You know, and where I lived there and you walk along the beach, you'd have these little cut edges all the time along the beach where the waves, the high point of the waves have cut into the beach. And so you didn't always have these gentle sloping beaches, you know. You had some where they cut in a little bit there to the edge of the beach, and then you would pick up the slope of the beach on the other side here. A little bit down like that. So we might put this little bit of a slope right here. Right in there. A little bit of idea of that slope right in there. And then lighten this up and get a little bit more light movement right to the front of this in here. We'll add some more movement right in here, right into the front of this whole area here. Let's go back to our knife and we'll model and pick up some more color here, white with this light and stuff, and we'll come in here and just add some more nice visual movement of textured colors right in here, lights and yellows, lots of texture, small movements of the knife. You can go to we don't want to lose all our blues too, but have some of the other kind of reds and stuff modeled in there as well. Don't lose some of your blues. Make sure you keep some of those in there as well. Those just look so great, that cool color coming in, you know. That cool color coming in there. Just looks great. It's a nice day at the beach here. And we'll just model this up a bit more. And you can even up here in the front start to tap some of that a little bit to get some of that nice, you know, beachy sand look right in through here. Just start to tap that all up in here. Tap along that edge in there just a bit. Go, just something like that. I like to paint those suggestive type of people. I painted some up a little closer. I want this really to be about the boat, and the people are back there just ideas and stuff of them. And he does that. Moran does that on his, and I just don't like Moran's oceans as much as I love his skies, and I love his ideas of people. I love his ideas of scenes and everything. It's just, I just don't like his oceans quite as much as I do, you know, Thomas. As much as I do some of the other painters and stuff, that they're beautiful, but they're just done a little too much casual here. I like, you know, William Truss Richards much better, I think. But I like Moran's setups and stuff as well. So I just love that look going right through here like this. We'll head out even more with some lights right in here, these nice beachy lights that'll come right in here. See how that boat just kind of leads you back. Let's step back just a bit here. See how that boat is just kind of doing exactly what I want it to do, to lead you back, into the scene right here. I want it to pick up here, so I might kind of redress the sky right in here. We might add a little bit more of a movement right in there. And just add just a little edges here. We'll beach this up, just pebble this up just a bit here and there. And just little, just as this paint is still also very, very wet, but I sometimes it's nice to let it tack up a little bit and get a little chunky, kind of, and then come in and just push some of this on here like that, so you get that nice variations of sand and stuff. But don't forget your blues. Make sure that you keep a little bit of your blues in there, just every once in a while, to keep that cool color traveling into that. Traveling into that sand, some of those blues, cool blues. There we go. Always, when I first saw this painting here and I saw those dunes in the back, I was raised on as a boy on the Oregon coast, living in Coos Bay, and used to always go up to the Dunes National Park and roll down the dunes, and stuff reminded me of those. Beautiful big dunes, sand dunes. And so I just kind of loved these paintings when I started putting this together. There we go, just like that. So get that nice tapping in of that. Now, I'm going to let that sit for just a bit here. Might revisit that again a little bit more. Might, decide to put more people in, or well, let's just put a little bit of movement right back in here like this. Just a little bit of that. But I want to keep that movement soft here. I added quite a bit more there, so I could take it back a little bit more towards that boat. At least get that nice movement there towards that boat here. And then we'll let that kind of there we go. And we'll let that just kind of set there like that. Now we'll come back and we'll work up and up into the front of our sky here. I'm going to go back to my bristle, even though it's I want these a little softer. I'm going to just add a little bit more of my cloud movement right back up in to this area here. So it's kind of picking up and moving right up in through here like that. That's what I want the viewer's eye to do, is to pick up these guys here and move through. So I'm going to change Moran's a bit. His idea that he was doing. I'm going to change it up a bit because I want this to kind of pick up and move through here. These lights. And you pick up that line of clouds and a little hole in the cloud there. Here. Yeah, we get that in there like that. Just light and soften that out. A little foggy. So a little foggy. Again, you just work it in. Work that in like that. Right down, disappearing along the beach, way down into here. Right in together. That helps you with your dimension. See how that just goes right back there. Helps you with your dimension right back. Littlest things really help. So we'll just let that fade away. Back there like that. I'm just going to come back up and hit the high points of it right back up here again. build those nice round little areas of that, and watch those shadows here. Shadows of this round part of this cloud. Let's restate those again. And then we'll build the light back up on top of that. There's that nice big round cloud there. And come back in and pick up some more light right up on that top. Right up there, just build that cloud up there. That's just real nice. That's pretty up through there. Just going to whisper some of that right up in there and just drag it with my finger, some of this light. I hit that yellow by mistake and I like it up there, so I'm going to leave it. We'll just whisper that in and just drag that into that. See how that blue is still all nice and wet there? Or you probably could see it if I moved it down a bit. Just all nice and wet there. Work that in, build that, let that cloud just kind of whisper off here. Here like that. That's just, well then that's just real pretty. I love how his shapes of clouds are so different than, you know, some of the other painters that are out there. I just love his shapes and the power of his clouds. Yeah, we'll leave that right in there like that. That nice whole beautiful look coming through there. We'll darken down just a bit through here. This is going to keep that nice crescent shape right in through there, pulling that boat up and around. I want your eye to come in and up and around, or hit that cloud too, and then down and around. That works as well there. Here, like that. We'll soften this out just a bit. Here. That's better. Put a little bit more white right in there. And then I think we're pretty much got it. I think we pretty much nailed this. Just a little over 2 hours, we've got this painting pretty much where you want. Now, if you want, you know, now's the time that you would sit down and really start to work the painting even more for more details. This is a small painting, though. And there's not really a lot of details that you can do to that. But you could, you know, put in some more receding things, an area of like little bushes or something like that along the back there. You know, you could do it real small. You could take like the corner of your brush here, you know, with a little bit of brown color, your red and black. Here I'm just mixing just a little bit of that up. Add a little bit. You want to watch your values anytime you're working back in here. Now that you got to set up, don't do it any darker back here than what you have in those people. Any kind of little details or movements or anything like that. Any darker than what you have going on in those people, because then those people will start to disappear on you. Okay, so but you can, you know, do this kind of movement into there. That adds a little bit more interest to it and actually softens out some of the people. So if I want to soften these people out in through here like that, just taking some of this dark around will soften the expression of those people right there and put them more, you know, softer into the beach tones there. So if you want to pop them back out, put a little bit of light in there. Just watch how, you know, how much you're putting in there. But you can go in there and work, and you can do all kinds of fun stuff. I keep the ocean just very, very simplistic. I like this simplistic ocean with this little scene like this. I think that works great, and it comes right into that boat. So I've enjoyed it. I wouldn't probably put any more. So I was thinking, do I need to put on a little more shine, like right into here? And I thought, boy, sometimes when you get to this part of the painting and you like it, you could start to screw it up if you play too much into it, and I don't want to play. I like the expression that you get when a painting, when you just do it, get it done and get out of there. That's when it's really kind of the best. So if you sit there and play around and think about it too much, you usually start making mistakes, and then that gets you into trouble. But if what you do is you look like, okay, like this area, this right here is all one solid color. So maybe if I just tap in a little bit more blue right in there, and that's enough. That's enough on that boat. That's all I'm going to do. But looking for breaking up some of those areas. So what really, when you look at a seascape like this, or any kind of landscape or any kind of painting for that matter, we start in with these type of techniques. We start in by just blocking in all of the main colors. Then we start to work smaller, getting smaller and smaller and smaller into the areas, and then we start into some of our details. And the majority of your details and your edges and everything belong into here, right along into here and into your water here. Let's move this all over here so we can see this just a little bit more. So it belongs all into this plane right in here. So if you see, my edges are all right in here. And then I revisit those edges again right back up here. So, so those things really cause your eye to kind of boom right in through here like this. And then it starts to notice some of those other areas back out there. And that's a beautiful way to do it. I like that. I like that motion and movement in there. But we start out big, then get a little smaller, a little smaller, a little smaller until your final details. I'm just going to add a little more light right back into here. When I looked at that, I want that to pull right up through there like that. So that little light struck plane of that little dune right there. Right, light struck paint right in there, those little dunes right there, just like that. And that's enough. That's a good painting. I'm going to leave it at that. Hope you've enjoyed it. I had a great time painting this one with you. We have a lot more landscapes, a lot more things coming on. Take a look at, keep an eye on our website. Look to us at JanssenArtStudio.com. You can go there and sign up for a newsletter. We send out a newsletter. Most of the time it's weekly, sometimes every other week or so. But we'll send you out new things that are coming, and you can also sign up on artvideosdirect.com. We have a lot of videos on our YouTube educational channels to look to those too. So we have a lot of educational materials. Start out on the JanssenArtStudio.com, though it's your portal to all of our sites and stuff like that. And as with anything, if you ever have any kinds of questions or anything like that, just drop us a line, and sometimes I'll answer those questions by painting for you right on YouTube. So keep an idea of those. Okay. Till then, enjoy your little seascape here. Hope you had a good time. I had a great time painting with you, and I'll see you next time here at Janssen Art Studio. Paint that seascape. See you later. Bye bye.